Let me show you how we can assemble an item, an assemble to stock item in a location that is set up with bin mandatory. So first there's some setup I need to show. So I will go to locations and I have configured location north. And so basically on this location you will see that I've assigned some assembly bins. So the to and the from assembly bin. Now the to assembly bin is the bin to which components are moved, and then the from assembly bin is the bin from which you move the assembled item to a bin in the warehouse. The third bin is only used in assemble to order scenarios, and this is something that is covered in the module on picking and shipping. So we will focus on these. Notice, by the way, that you also have similar bins for production. But in this case, let's make an example with an assembly order. Now, before you can create assembly orders, you of course also have to configure number series. So I will go to the assembly setup. And here on the numbering fast tab, you can see that I've configured a number series for the assembly orders and also the posted assembly orders. And at the same time, I also entered the default location for assembly, which is north. All right, so let's create a new assembly order. And I will click on New. And I will create a new order for assembly item 1925W, the conference bundle 1 to 6. In my preparation, I also posted inventory for the assembly components, so that's also something that you might want to do. So I'm sure that I have enough stock of the components to assemble this item. So let's assemble 3 units. There we go. And you will see that the system now inserts the assembly items or the components that we need. So the Antwerp conference table and the Mexico swivel chair. Now again, we're assembling in a location that is set up for with bin mandatory. So this means that before you can post the assembly order, before you can post the assembly output, we first should move these components to the assembly to bin. So and that's something that you can do by clicking here on warehouse and then create inventory movement. So not create warehouse pick, that might be confusing in the beginning, but warehouse pick is for the advanced warehousing, so that uses warehouse picks. But here my location is set up with inventory documents, so the inventory pick, inventory put away, and also inventory movement. So I will create an inventory movement. Okay, first you need to release the order, so that's of course also the case for assembly orders. Okay, once that it's released, let's give it another try. And now you can select here that you want to create an inventory movement. I will click on OK. And there you go, the inventory movement is created. So let's go and have a look. I will use the search function to search for the inventory movements. And here you can see the document Business Central has created. So here you can see indeed that this is a movement from the bins on which these items are located in the warehouse. So in my example, this is bin number 7 and 5. And these items are moved to the assembly bin. So the one that is configured on the location card, number 20 in this example. So again, take place, take place. All right, so first I will use the function autofill to automatically fill the quantity to handle. And then after physically moving these items to the assembly bin, we can register the inventory movements. So now let's return to the assembly order, because now we have these components on the assembly bin, which means that we have everything available to assemble these items. So when assembling items, as you probably know, is done by posting the assembly order. So posting the assembly order will post at the same time the consumption and the output. So let me do this. I will click on post. So and now the document is posted. But this means, and let me show you by going to items, that the conference bundle, so the assembled item, is still on the assembly bin. So if you go to Navigate, Warehouse, Bin Contents, you can see here that we have these 3 units still on the assembly bin. And now in most cases, it's the idea to move the items, so the assembled items, from the assembly bin to the bin in the warehouse on which the item should be located. Now, and that's something that we can do once more with an inventory movement. So first I will go to internal movements and assume that I'm the warehouse manager, and each day it's my task to move items from the assembly bin into the warehouse. Then I can create a new internal movement, and that's very interesting, I can use the get bin content function, because I would like, sorry, let me first assign a number. There we go. So then let's run the get bin content function again. So in here I can use this function to insert the bin content of the assembly or the from assembly bin. So the bin that is configured on which all the assembled items are automatically placed. So I will go to bin code. And so in my example, this is bin number 21. So let's select bin number 21. And now, for example, at the end of the day, all assembled items which are located on that bin are now inserted here in my movement. So in my example, this is of course only one item, so the 3 conference bundles, but you can of course also have a complete list of items, assembled items, for which you can then create an inventory movement. Sorry, the to bin code should be entered. So I decide to put these items, for example, on bin number 3. Then I can create the inventory movement. And this is again the instruction for the warehouse people to actually move these items. So I will go to the inventory movement. So here you can see the document. So I will enter the quantity to handle, because we were able to move all these items from bin number 21 to number 3. And then I can process the movement. So I will register the inventory movement, and there you go. And so now the assembled items are located on their bin in the warehouse. So that's how you can use bins in an assemble to stock scenario.